Good morning, everyone. I'm LilianaSalas, and my master's project explores the interplay between travel speed, the built environment, and socioeconomic factors in predicting fatal crashes, with the intention of providing insights for policymakers in implementing effective speed management strategies to prevent road fatalities. Before getting started with the topic, I would like to take a few seconds to acknowledge that the University of Arizona is on the land of indigenous peoples, particularly the O'odham and the Yaqui, and I want to express my gratitude for hosting me in their home to learn about GIS. So let's get started. So why does this topic matter? The World Health Organization reports that approximately 1.2 million people lose their lives in road crashes globally. In the US, speed plays a critical role in public health since it is linked to 30% of fatal crashes in recent years. As the map on the screen shows, there is no federal law regulating speed limits. It's a state-level competence. And with state-specific limits varying and a strong dependence on automobiles, understanding the role of vehicle speed in fatal crash occurrence is essential for road safety strategies in the US. So in this research, I want to investigate how travel speed, elements of the built environment related to transportation, and socioeconomic factors modeled at the block level group explain the occurrence of fatal crashes. Most existing research has focused on either socioeconomic factors and characteristics of the transportation network and their influence on predicting crashes. Other studies have looked at vehicle speed influence, but often using proxies of vehicle speed data or regulatory speed limits rather than real speed data. And what's largely missing is an understanding of how these factors interact, especially in the context of inner city roadways. So this study brings a new perspective by combining both angles. It asks, does using actual vehicle speed data improve crash prediction in an urban area like Portland, Oregon, where fatal crashes do not seem to follow a specific spatial pattern? To reach these goals, I follow a multi-step methodology, starting with identifying relevant data sources and preparing them for use in regression models. I work with three main data sources. First, the Fatality Analysis Reporting System, known as FARS, managed by the National Highway Safety Administration, NHTSA. It provides fatal crash records across the US, and it could be defined as the census for road fatalities. I extracted data from 2010 to 2022, which is the latest available year. And to focus the scope, I excluded crashes during the lockdown measures in Portland from March 2020 through January 2021, and crashes on highways and interstates within the city, resulting in 330 crashes. Although this data set isn't geospatially by default, it contains coordinates. So I converted the data into spatial points, defined a coordinate system using the project tool, and applied spatial joins to filter out unwanted cases. Second, I use the US Census Bureau, which collects information about social, economic, housing, and demographic characteristics of the US population. Here, variables from the 2023 American Community Survey, including total population, race, population density, commuting means, vehicle ownership, English proficiency, and median household income were extracted. This data was pre-processed mainly in Python for normalization, and then joined it to geospatial layers for further analysis. Third, I retrieved geospatial data from Portland's Open Data Repository. These included block group polygons, city boundaries, geocoded streets, bus stops, and vehicle speed counts. All these data sets were projected to the same coordinate system, which in this case is NAT 1983, to ensure accuracy in overlay and spatial analysis. Next, the data integration and data cleaning step, which included performing spatial joins and selecting relevant variables. And here, outliers were addressed in two ways. For discrete features like speed limits, I use visual inspection via Google Maps. And for continuous variables, I plotted histograms of distributions and applied the inner quartile range method. And here, I also created new variables like row density and total population of color. And after that, each group of variables, in other words, the socioeconomic, the built environment, and the vehicle speed related data were spatially joined to the crash dataset. To test early associations between crashes and potential predictors, I use ArcGIS tools like bivariate maps and local bivariate relationships tool. On the far right of the screen, you can see how this local bivariate tool yields a new layer with the typology of the relationships between the variables tested. In the example here, road density and crash count show a complex relationship in the northwest region of the city, along with some with negative linear relationships for a couple of blocks in green. And by hovering over a specific block group, you can see a graph like this one here that illustrates how that area fits into the broader pattern. This step was crucial not only for guiding variable selection in the modeling phase, but also for adjusting or for justifying the use of a regression method that accounts for spatial variation in relationships across the study area. With the data prepared, now I can talk about the geospatial modeling phase. So I defined 5 models to predict crash counts per block group. These models were designed to test the contribution of different domains and or different data domains, and specifically to isolate the effect of vehicle speed data. The first model, or M1, included only socioeconomic variables, such as percent of Black and American Indian population and median household income. Model 2 focused on the built environment using variables like average daily traffic volume, or ADT volume, bus stops count, road density, and posted speed. Model 3 looked solely at speed-related variables, including the 85th percentile of the speed, the percentage of vehicles traveling above the speed limit, and the percentage of vehicles traveling 10 miles above the speed limit. Model 4 combined socioeconomic and built environment variables, or Model 1 and Model 2. And finally, Model 5 brought everything together, integrating the socioeconomic, the built environment, and the vehicle speed data. To test these models, I use geographically weighted regression, or GWR, in ArcGIS Pro. And unlike standard regression methods like ordinary least squares, which assume that relationships between variables are consistent across space, the geographically weighted regression allows for local variation. It treats model parameters as location dependent, meaning that it accounts for how predictors like vehicle speed might affect crash differently in different block groups. GWR uses a kernel function to assign more weight to nearby observations. This helps capture localized effects, which is essential when you are working with special phenomena like crash occurrence. And the output is a feature layer where we can adjust the symbology to explore different aspects of the model. For example, these choropleth maps display local deviance, which measures how well the model explains crashes in each block group. Essentially, it's a local equivalent of R-square, for those of you familiar with ordinary least regression, and indicates the goodness of fit for each individual local regression. As you can see on the map, the model's predictive capacity varies across space. It's stronger in some areas and weaker in others. This insight is crucial for target interventions and local planning. And for example, when looking at the individual domain models, these 3 models, We can see a pattern of higher prediction capacity, generally around downtown areas here, the areas in yellow. Model 1, using only socioeconomic data, and Model 2, using built environment variables, both show moderate predictive power. Their best performing regions, shown in yellow on the maps, reach prediction rates of around 36 to 51% here for Model 1. And however, Model 3, excuse me, which includes only vehicle speed related variables, shows a maximum prediction capacity of up to 63%. It makes it's the strongest of the three. But while the high performance yellow region in Model 3 is smaller in a special extent compared to the other two, what is important is that within this area and the adjacent light green zone, all the vehicle speed related variables are significant. That means that is speed at the 85th percentile, speeding behaviors of those traveling 10 miles above the speed limit, and even speed counts show a consistent and non-random relationship with crash counts, so they genuinely help explain where and why crashes occur. And this concentrated but powerful effect suggests that vehicle speed is a critical predictor of fatal crashes within an closed downtown, reinforcing its role as a key factor in local crash dynamics. From a numeric perspective, the summary metrics that are also generated by ArcGIS Pro directly reinforce the importance of integrating actual vehicle speed data into crash prediction models. Among the individual domain models, Model 3, which includes only vehicle speed data, perform best, explaining 35% of the crashes. The best overall performance, however, came from Model 5 down here, explaining 42% of crash variation, which is about 70% improvement over Model 3, showing that while vehicle speed is powerful on its own, combining it with other variables strengthens the model. And similarly, when comparing the performance of geographically weighted regression to a non-spatial regression, here on the difference deviances column, in every case, the spatial model outperformed the global one. This means that GWR, or geographically weighted regression, capture much more of the variation in crash count across space. So visually, you can see how Model 5 integrates spatial patterns from Model 1 and 3 is particularly significant in the yellow areas. And in the Southwest, the model shows significance for socioeconomic and road density variables. In central downtown here, where urban activity is highest, variables from all three domains, including total population, Black population, road density, speed at the 85th percentile, and percentage of speeding vehicles, are all significant in predicting crashes. GWR also reveals how these relationships vary across space, adding critical detail that a global model will miss. So to conclude, this study shows that adding vehicle speed data into existing road safety models significantly enhances the predictive accuracy, especially at the block group level in urban areas like downtown Portland. These findings underscore the value of using granular, localized data in public health forecasting tools, and ultimately the superior performance of GWR highlights the importance of geographic context for identifying hotspots and planning targeted interventions, which in this case prioritize or will be aiming at prioritizing speed management strategies in dense urban cores. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'm happy to take your questions.